In a universe where fate weaves through galaxies, astronaut Jack Rios awakens on a strange planet ruled by the Tarinas, women embodying strength after the absence of men. As Jack struggles for survival amid secrets and tensions, he must grapple with the fine line between connection and conflict. Can love triumph over deep-rooted divides, or will it fuel war? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. Silence enveloped Jack Rios like a heavy blanket, a void where the usual sounds of life vanished into the restless expanse of the cosmos. As he stirred from the depths of unconsciousness, he felt disoriented and his heart raced. The memories of his spacecraft breaking apart amidst a storm of swirling stars played in his mind like a haunting reminder of his fate. Jack blinked against a kaleidoscope of colors stretching before him. A vast horizon filled with luminescent flora shimmered under the gaze of two peculiar suns that painted the skies in shades of amber and indigo. Pushing himself away from the twisted remains of his vessel, Jack struggled to his feet. Each step reminded him of the shock to his body. He brushed strands of debris from his uniform, torn and soiled from the crash, gritting his teeth as he surveyed his surroundings. The weight of uncertainty settled heavily in his chest like a stone. He felt utterly alone, isolated in this alien world. "Where am I?" Jack murmured, his voice hoarse and barely audible against the soft whispers of unfamiliar winds. He staggered slightly, the ground beneath him undulating gently like the rhythmic breath of an organism. Scanning the heavens, he searched for signs of his home. A familiar flicker amongst the stars, something to anchor him to the reality he once knew. Suddenly, figures emerged from the vivid expanse, stretching towards the horizon like long shadows at dusk. They were tall, elegant beings, gliding through the luminescent terrain with an almost ethereal grace. Their skin shimmered with an otherworldly radiance, and cascading white hair flowed down their backs, intertwining with the vibrant flora surrounding them. Intricately decorated faces, adorned with patterns that pulsed gently, reflected the light of the dual suns. These were the Tarinas, guardians of this vibrant landscape, embodiments of strength and resilience. One stepped forward from the group, her penetrating gaze piercing through Jack's trepidation. She radiated both authority and an unmistakable curiosity. Lyana, as he would later learn, commanded a presence that captivated him, her poise seamlessly blending elegance with the fierce spirit of her people. Her deep azure eyes held stories of ancient worlds and untold wisdom. Although words eluded them in that moment, a silent understanding began to blossom between Jack and the enigmatic alien. He felt his heart race not just from fear but from a burgeoning intrigue. "Hello," he managed, raising his hands in a gesture of peace, the palms open to convey sincerity. In that instant, he felt as if he were standing at the precipice of a grand adventure, one that would stretch beyond the confines of his understanding. Lyana's expression softened, and a hint of a smile played on her lips, revealing a set of delicate, sharp teeth. Jack noted the intricacy of her patterns, symbols that spoke of her lineage and status among the Tarinas, a language he was yet to learn. As she raised her hand in response, a few of the other Tarinas mirrored her movements, their collective grace striking him as beautiful and unsettling. Jack felt a connection to these beings, an unexplainable thread pulling him toward them even as uncertainty lingered in the air, thick and palpable. "Can you understand me?" he asked, a flicker of hope igniting within him. Her gaze intensified, and though she remained silent, her expression conveyed compassion, a spark that ignited a bridge between their worlds. Jack Rios felt the weight of his new reality press against him as he acclimated to the peculiar customs of the Tarina society. The first startling discovery was their dwelling, a vast, organic structure resembling a living tree, its bark a swirling mixture of purple and green hues that pulsed gently as if it breathed. Inside, the air shimmered with a luminescent glow that seemed to echo the rhythm of the Tarina's heartbeats, creating an unspoken bond among them. It was a paradise of somehow alien yet inviting beauty, where every surface undulated with life, floors covered in soft, moss-like substance that cradled his feet and walls adorned with bioluminescent flora, painting the place with a celestial array of colors. Days turned to weeks, Jack becoming adept at navigating the intricacies of the Tarina language, a melodious blend of chirps, hums, and soft, flowing syllables. He discovered that their minds communicated as much as their voices, using the rhythm and flow of their spoken words to transmit emotions. The language was not merely verbal, it weaved intricate tapestries of thought reflecting deep cultural wisdom. Every evening, Jack joined communal gatherings where Tarinas danced under the lavender sky. The rhythmic pulsation of their bodies formed a kaleidoscope of motion fueled by spiritual energy. It wasn't just entertainment, it was a sacred act of unity, healing the rifts between them. Jack often found his heart racing, swept away by the entrancing motions and colors. The Tarinas celebrated the ephemeral beauty of existence, their dances like poetry written in the air, yet he could not shake the lingering thoughts of how long he would remain an envoy in their world. As his bond with Lyana deepened, Jack began to comprehend the unsettling undercurrents flowing through Tarina society. Not everyone welcomed him. Rumors of those known as the perilous crept into his awareness. Whispers on the wind spoke of a faction fiercely resistant to external influence, those who saw Jack as an encroaching storm threatening to dismantle what was sacred. Though most Tarinas embraced him, a palpable tension simmered just below the surface, a precarious truce that could fracture with the slightest provocation. On particularly silent nights, when the twin moons reflected on the ethereal flora, Jack confided in Lyana beneath the starlit expanse. "Is there a way to heal this divide?" he asked, the worry etched deep into his brow. "Do they fear me because I am human, or because I am different?" Lyana's eyes glistened with empathy, caught between worlds. "Your presence serves as a mirror, Jack. It reflects our fears and desires. We are proud, yet we yearn for connection. You are a bridge, but the crossing comes with risks." She shared with him the stories of their ancestors, tales of unity and discord. Each epic unfolded like a vibrant tapestry illustrating the tenuous balance between tradition and change. One day, amid their routine of practice and learning, Jack stumbled upon a Tarina elder named Merwina. Her hair cascaded like molten silver around her shoulders, and her skin shimmered with luminous patterns that told stories of her lineage. With a warm yet piercing gaze, she beckoned him closer. "Jack Rios, harbinger of change, do you understand the weight you carry?" she intoned, her voice rich with wisdom. A tremor of ancient energy resonated around them. "I'm just trying to find my way home," he replied, though already he felt the seed of doubt sprouting within him. "No," she said, her voice imbued with clarity that silenced the whispers of the forest. "Home is not a place, it is a feeling, one we foster among kin. You must choose. Will you contribute to division or harmony?" The question resounded within Jack, its resonance haunting. Merwina spoke of rituals that bonded their communities, emphasizing the need for unity over conflict, drawing inspiration from the dance that had entranced him so deeply. "There lies power in forging connections. You must be the catalyst to stir the souls of the peristas." Days turned into an intrinsic balance of dialogue and introspection. Jack would often find himself wrestling with the paradox of his situation. One afternoon, As he ventured deep into the luminous groves of the Tarinas, he noticed a rustling disturbance at the edge of the clearing. Intruders lurking like shadows at the corners of the sunlight. Jack's pulse quickened, instincts honed during his missions on Earth triggering an array of automated responses. Lyana, he called, urgency intertwining with fear, but his voice was swallowed by the chirping symphony of the flora surrounding him. Leaping from behind an ethereal tree, two figures masked with obsidian armor brandished elegantly curved blades that glinted with a menacing promise. Peristas. Their faces hidden beneath intricate masks, they moved with predatory precision, embodying a lethal elegance. Before Jack could comprehend the unfolding danger, Lyana appeared, her form radiating courage like a beacon amidst the storm. "They do not understand," she shouted, grounding herself as a protective wall before Jack. "You cannot harm him, he means no threat." Their leader, cloaked in a dark aura that seemed to suck the light away, stepped forward. "You feed on our world, Tarina. Your indulgence with this human proves disastrous. He disrupts our peace." Jack felt a surge of adrenaline as he advanced slightly behind Lyana, contemplating whether he could bridge the gap or if destructive forces would erupt around him. "I am not your enemy," he interjected, equal parts chaos and clarity blending within his voice. "I wish only to learn. We can coexist." But the air crackled with hostility, and Jack felt the weight of uncertainty crushing down. At that moment, he understood his role was poised dangerously between ally and adversary, his existence a fulcrum on which both worlds balanced precariously. As they stood against the encroaching antagonism, Jack felt a magnetic pull towards Lyana, the silent bond forged between them illuminating his consciousness. Her presence was grounding, urging him to seek unity even in the eye of the chaos. "We are not enemies," he pleaded, desperation lacing his words. "Please, listen to the truth of our voices. We can find a way." Yet dissent flooded the gathered crowd, filling the air with tension and fear. The leader shouted commands, rallying their forces while the Tarinas quaked uneasily. Jack's heart raced with uncertainty. Grasping at the frail string of hope began to feel like a losing battle. Lyana suddenly lifted her arm in stark defiance, her eyes reflecting a fierce determination. "We shall dance," she declared, her voice steady like the steady beat of war drums. "Tonight, let our movement speak louder than ours words." The warmth of Jack's bond with Lyana deepened, transcending words. Countless moments of joy unfolded beneath the lavender sky, where luminescent flora whispered secrets to the zephyrs framing their secluded paradise. Laughter flowed freely between them, a melody that echoed softly against the wild symphony of the Tarina world. Yet, within this oasis of connection, the shadows of conflict loomed larger each day as whispers of dissent circled like predatory birds searching for carrion. A distant rumble, the sound of augmented engines throbbing against the quiet rhythm of nature, echoed ominously over the horizon. The tranquil sanctuary felt like a fragile bubble on the brink of bursting. Jack noticed how the air grew thick with tension whenever the factions gathered, their voices rising in a chorus of accusation and fear. The Tarinas, a proud people molded by generations of tradition, viewed him not just as an outsider but as a harbinger of change, a change that threatened the very fabric of their lives. One day, while holed up in their secret grove, an enchanted enclave hidden behind cascading vines, Lyana's twinkling eyes bore into Jack's. "There are conversations turning darker, Jack. The Peristas believe we invite ruin into our world with your presence." Jack's brow furrowed as he reached for her hand, finding solace in their physical connection. "I'm not your enemy, Lyana. I'm simply trying to survive, just like you." With her heart-shaped face and cascading silver hair, like moonbeams caught in the wind, Lyana was a force of nature. But to them, Your mere existence is a threat. Yesterday I overheard them speak of sacrificing for the sake of what remains. Their laughter, previously buoyant and carefree, faded into silence and dread. The elaborately manicured gardens surrounding them seemed to wilt beneath the weight of impending strife, the shimmering colors dulling to muted hues. Jack's pulse quickened with mounting dread, a tangible anticipation of conflict. "What can we do?" he asked, the corners of his mouth pulled tight. "What can we say to make them see reason? Words may be weapons," Lyana frowned, "but they cannot always shield us from the arrows of fate. If violence comes knocking, we must be ready to face it, for we have everything to lose." It was a somber reality, Lyana's resilience matched only by the depth of her love. They agreed to gather their allies in secrecy, to strategize, to prepare. Even as they plotted in the tranquil surroundings of their grove, the storm clouds gathered on the horizon of their liaison, a storm of fists, not words. Days turned into weeks, and the tension simmered to a boiling point. One fateful night, as starlight flickered like 1,000 eyes peering down upon them, the world shattered. A piercing scream shattered the early evening calm. What was that? Jack shot up, adrenaline coursing through him as he raced to the main clearing where a small gathering of Tarinas had convened, whispered debates morphing into shouts. "Stay back," Lyana shouted, courage illuminating her face as she stepped ahead of Jack, defiance surging within her majestic form. "You do not belong here," a voice roared from the encroaching darkness, a tall figure emerging like a specter. The leader of the Peristas, Darnath, was imposing, his figure practically intimidating in the moonlight. His eyes burned with a fanatic fervor as he brandished an ornate weapon, one marked by ancestral lineage, a tangible embodiment of oppression. Jack's heart raced as he felt Lyana's warmth beside him, the intensity of the situation pooling in his chest. "I am not a threat," he implored, desperation coursing through his voice. "Your mere presence taints our land, outsider." Darnath spat, every syllable laced with deep-seated hatred. "You have brought this upon us with your odious interference. The Tarinas have forgotten their roots, and for that, they'll pay." The faces of those surrounding him shifted, caught between fear and fervor, a teetering balance that could tip in any direction. Something profound stirred in Jack, a raw sense of urgency. "This does not have to end in bloodshed," he pleaded, heart hammering against the relentless anguish of reality. "We can find common ground." Yet Darnath scoffed, raising his weapon defiantly, a gnarled piece of technology fused with ancient weaponry. "Common ground? You are an invasive root seeking to strangle our very essence. We will cleanse this land of your contagion and preserve what is ours." The murmur of the crowd churned, an electric tension crackling like static in the air. Jack felt helpless as the distance between persuasion and violence began to evaporate, the threats echoing through stricken air. Lyana raised her hands, shimmering in the starlight, pleading for calm, for peace. "Your fear blinds you, Darnath. We can learn from one another. We do not need violence." But even as her voice rang clear, the facades around them crumbled like fine glass under pressure. A scuffle broke out, a chaotic orchestra composed of shouts and shattering tranquility. Jack darted forward instinctively, his human instincts triggering fight or flight. He spotted a young Tarina, no more than a girl, being shoved back rawly, her face twisted in fear. The sight drove Jack into action. Get back, he cried, shoving through the fray, desperation unraveling his restraint. The rumbled chaos transformed into chaos as an energy pulse surged from Darnath's weapon. An explosion colored the night, bright as a supernova. Jack dove forward, determined to shield Lyana and protect the innocent vibrancy of her world. "No!" he screamed, lunging, as the ground trembled beneath them. a potently foreboding foretaste of the rupture that was to follow. He braced himself against the shockwave as it enveloped them, the stars dimmed, swallowed by the dark clouds of fate looming above. The night danced with startling flashes of light, ringing with the shifting clangor of hopelessness. And then, a voice chanted from within the shadows, deep and resonant, a sound that sent icy tendrils of fear down Jack's spine. It was a ritualistic incantation, uttered by those hidden from sight, invoking powers far beyond their understanding. Tension thickened like fog, coiling around them as voices broke the stillness, a haunting symphony of disbelief and dread swelling in the air. Evidently, there was more at play, eldritch forces awakening amidst their squabble. And just as it became unbearable, the world erupted not only into chaos but into something more, a rift opening in the very fabric of reality. The atmosphere was thick with tension as shadows loomed over the Tarina realm. Jack stood at the forefront of the gathering, the leaders of both factions staring at him with expressions etched in suspicion, curiosity, and fear. The air vibrated with uncertainty, the remnants of past conflicts hanging like heavy fog over the gathering. He could feel Lyana's presence beside him, an anchor he desperately needed. The luminous flora surrounding them swayed gently, as if whispering encouragement from the universe itself. Above, the twin suns bathed the scene in golden light, casting elongated silhouettes of those who had come to witness this fragile moment. It was a confluence of cultures, of histories laden with pain and the possibility of redemption. Jack's heart raced, the weight of expectation resting squarely on his shoulders. He inhaled deeply, feeling the rawness of the moment prickling at his senses. The metallic hum of ships shattered the silence from beyond the horizon, a reminder of Earth's impending influence. They were sleek constructs of advanced technology, moving in unison, cutting through the tapestry of space with grace but also with an ominous presence. They were a reminder of who Jack was and where he came from, yet they felt like specters hovering over his new life, a fragile bridge connecting two worlds. As he stood there, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of being caught in a cosmic storm. A distant rumble echoed in the sky. The Prometheus fleet, the Earth's colonial armada, was descending upon the Tarina land. The flotilla had been sent to seek out the wreckage of his ship, sure it held secrets and treasures of the universe. However, they bore a different prize: the very blood of Jack Rios, a human lost amidst alien majesty. With a determined gaze, Jack stepped forward, his voice steady yet imbued with urgency as he addressed the assembled crowd. Listen, ships from Earth are coming. Whatever differences we have, we must unite against this common threat. His words ignited a cacophony of shouts and heated exchanges. The Tarinas, beautiful and fierce, their markings glistening under the sun, erupted with skepticism. The leader of the Peristas, a formidable woman named Isara with dark, flowing hair resembling ice curling against the wind, stepped forward, her gaze piercing through Jack. "Are you asking us to trust those who would conquer rather than coexist?" she spat. Jack's heart sank. He could feel the weight of her mistrust. He opened his mouth to respond, but Lyana squeezed his hand, drawing attention back to her. Her intense blue eyes locked onto Isara's, fierce and unyielding. "We have fought enough battles among ourselves. The arrival of the Earth fleet poses a threat not just to us, but to Jack as well. He has not chosen this war. We must act now to forge an alliance, to protect our home." Was this what their union meant? A rallying cry against forces greater than themselves? Jack felt a mix of admiration and apprehension towards Lyana. Her voice resonated with power, embodying the new strength of the Tarina people. "Can you imagine what they will do if they see us divided?" Jack added, his voice rising, bolstered by Lyana's confidence. A ripple of agreement pulsed through the crowd, but Isara remained unfazed. What assurances do we have that he is not a pawn in their game? How do we know that once they arrive, your loyalty will not shift, Jack? Because I have seen the cost of division. Jack shot back, feeling the weight of his own choices plaguing him. I have fought wars on Earth, seen civilizations crumble under the weight of their greed. I do not want that for this world or for my child. At the mention of his child, silence fell. The only sound was the distant thrum of approaching ships, painting the skies above with worry. Jack felt Lyana's warmth radiating beside him, a reminder of hope woven into the fabric of their connection. Give me a chance to prove that we are stronger together, Jack implored, his voice steady and sincere. Join me and let us build a future where our children do not have to witness such conflict. Several Tarinas stepped forward, faces drawn with uncertainty yet curious to entertain the prospect of unity. Isara narrowed her eyes but began to reconsider, caught off guard by the passion that ignited in the crowd. Jack sensed the tide beginning to shift. He was gaining a foothold. As the ships loomed ever closer, Jack turned to the gathered assembly, feeling the urgency seep into his bones. We must act now. I will go to the ships, confront them, and be their envoy. I will negotiate peace, but I cannot do this without a united front. We need to show them we are unbreakable. The collective murmurs of agreement rose like a swell, reconciling the factions. Even Isara hesitated, her eyes searching the sea of faces filled with determination. She drew a deep breath, ready to respond when a familiar shrill siren pierced through the air, followed by the unmistakable whir of advancing vessels. A sleek scout ship, a distinct vanguard from Earth, curved into the atmosphere like a silver dagger slicing through the heavens. It was clear they had come not merely for curious exploration but with intentions born of authority and conquest. A blinding light erupted as their landing clamps engaged with the ground. Our time is short, Jack yelled, galvanizing the crowd. We must prepare. Our first act as allies is to stand together, showing them we will not be defeated. Chaos erupted as the Tarinas dispersed, preparing for a confrontation. Intricate weapons adorned their bodies, shimmering with ancestral symbols, each representing their unyielding spirit in battle. Jack felt his insides twist. This wasn't where he had expected to be. Merging destinies with an unfamiliar people, bands of women ready to defend their world, and all he could offer was the weaponized versions of what he once fought against. Lyana caught his gaze, her expression resolute yet concerned. Are you sure about this? What if they turn on you? I have to try, Jack replied, the weight of everything resting on his shoulders. I can't let my past dictate our future. As he turned away, Jack felt a sense of finality sink in. He was stepping into the unknown. He breathed in the eerie yet beautiful air saturated with lavender and the unknown, wishing to ingrain its essence in his memory. Suddenly, an ethereal glow enveloped him, a shimmer of colors pulsating that stole him from his thoughts, an energy binding him to the moment, to the decisions he would soon face. As they entered the sacred clearing where the ships had landed, the shimmering vessels unfolded like ancient beasts from the annals of time. The dual suns glistened against their sleek, polished surfaces. As discussions rippled through the air, the charged atmosphere thrummed with an energy both exhilarating and daunting. Lyana's delicate words hung between them, heavy with significance. Jack, I am with child. The revelation sent waves of joy and anxiety shuddering through him, creating a kaleidoscope of emotions that danced wildly in his chest. Their bond, once a fragile thread, now felt like a tapestry woven from the fibers of hope and fear. His heart raced. What does this mean? Jack questioned, marveling at the weight of their connection. He could feel the vibrations of the moment pulsing through the ground beneath his feet, resonating with the vibrant energy of Tarina civilization around them. Lyana smiled softly, her bright, expressive eyes like twin stars glimmering in the twilight. "It means we have the chance to weave our destinies together," she murmured, hope igniting in her gaze. The lush flora surrounding them seemed to echo with their emotions, flowers unfurling as if to celebrate their union. Yet, the bouquet of joy was tinged with thorns of reality. Jack sensed the gravity of their predicament. They stood at the crossroads of a changing world. A world where love would have to navigate the jagged edges of conflict and radical belief. The looming specter of the Peristas cast a long shadow over their burgeoning family. As twilight deepened into night, Jack and Lyana walked hand in hand, their silhouettes merging with the scenery around them. Under the bioluminescent canopy of alien trees, Jack felt the whisper of the universe urging them to consider the fusion of their communities. "We have to talk to the others," he urged as they ventured toward a larger gathering space, the Luminary Center. This was where decisions were made, where the fabric of Tarina society was stitched together with threads of unity. "But what will happen when we tell them?" Lyana's voice was laced with apprehension. "The Peristas may not see this child as a bridge between our worlds." Jack squeezed her hand gently, grounding her anxiety with his resolve. "We cannot hide who we are. If we're to build a future together, we must be honest. There's no strength in deception." He pictured their child, a symbol of their love, glowing against the backdrop of a predatory cosmos. They needed to foster hope, not fear. As they arrived at the Luminary Center, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. The domed structure, made from shimmering elements harvested from the surrounding wildlife, pulsed with a luminous energy. The Tarinas had gathered. Faces etched with concern and curiosity turned towards the couple as they entered. Jack's heart raced. "People of the Tarina." Jack projected his voice, filling the chamber with his earnestness. The unity of their society was at stake. "We stand at the threshold of a new tomorrow. Lyana and I have something extraordinary to share, a symbol of our bond." Hushed whispers rippled like waves throughout the crowd, their bubbling excitement mixed with apprehensive glances. Lyana beamed at him, as if bolstered by the warmth emanating from their shared humanity. "Lyana is with child," he announced, his words hanging in the air like a pendulum. The silence stretched, caught between disbelief and the tender embrace of hope. "And no," a voice broke through, the sharp tone of Lestra, the leader of the Peristas. Her presence loomed with authority, eyes narrowed, piercing through the veil of anticipation. "What you propose is a blasphemy. You seek to entwine our lives with theirs?" Her disdain cut through the ambient warmth, chilling Jack to the core. Jack stepped forward, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. "This child represents a chance for unity, understanding, and collaboration among our peoples. We have already lost so much to mistrust and division. Is it not time to choose a different path?" Lestra shook her head, her expression disdainful. "You would put our future in the hands of outsiders. Their existence alone is the threat." The tension crackled, generating an electricity that hummed in the air between them. Lyana, standing by Jack's side, leveled a gaze at Lestra, unyielding as the mountains that guarded their valley home. "Does love not transcend borders? This child is part Tarina, part human. She will carry both legacies." "Yes," Jack interjected, the excitement of his thoughts spilling forth. "Imagine the harmony we could create, the strength that comes from embracing our differences rather than fearing them. We're not just asking for acceptance, we're offering partnership." But Lestra scoffed, lifting her chin, emboldened by the murmuring support of her followers. "Partnership? Or are you merely a pawn? Are you aware of the history that flows like poison through our ancestors' veins? I will not stand idly by as you invite destruction into our midst." The tension in the chamber escalated, deep heavy breaths punctuating the atmosphere like war drums. Jack could feel Lyana's fingers tighten around his, the warmth siphoning away into the freezing grip of dread. This moment meant everything, not just for them, but for the future of their peoples. In the face of fear, we have always chosen the path of destruction, Jack pressed on, his voice gathering strength. But today, we can make a choice that allows different legacies to coexist, rather than be defined by the wounds of the past. The flickers of doubt in the Tarina assembly suggested a growing fissure in their staunch opposition. Jack took a moment, letting his gaze roam from Lyana to her kin. Their faces caught between the ancient traditions of their world and the uncharted possibilities of this new path. Let us not bury ourselves in conflict, he urged gently, his hope blooming like the flora of their alien haven. Let this child be a reminder that love is the ultimate resistance against hatred. Together, we can construct a brighter horizon for all of us. Silence enveloped the gathering. It was as if time itself had paused to listen. Even the flora outside leaned in, curious. Lyana's radiant smile emerged amidst the clouds of uncertainty as the first muted whispers of acceptance began to weave through the throng of onlookers. History has shown us the consequences of division, Lyana's voice rose, tempered with strength and gentle yearning. But we have the opportunity to learn from it, together. We have the chance to forge a future of understanding. Lestra remained unmoved, a statue carved from distrust. Your naivety will lead to ruin, she proclaimed defiantly. Yet, even her words trembled, laced with a hint of doubt. Just then, an older Tarina stepped forward, her presence a quiet storm of wisdom and depth. Mira, revered for her insight, took center stage, her brow furrowed in contemplation. Perhaps fear has dictated our choices for too long, she began, her voice a melodic cadence that calmed the raging tide. For in the end, we must consider what kind of world we want to leave behind, not just for ourselves but for future generations. Jack's heart swelled with tentative hope as murmurs of agreement erupted. Let the child be raised with the teachings of both worlds, Mira suggested, her silver hair glistening in the dim light. For only through understanding will we ensure peace. Palpable relief swept through Jack as myriad faces began to soften, contemplating the future of the child, their child. The collective breath of the assembly seemed to ignite a spark of camaraderie, empowering Jack and Lyana as one. Jack locked eyes with Lyana, who was radiating pure determination. They had entered this arena uncertain, but love had emerged victorious, breathing life into possibilities they could scarcely dream of just moments ago. Yes, Lyana closely echoed Mira, a zephyr of courage flowing from her. Today we birth something new together, an alliance that honors both halves of our existence. With compassion and understanding as our foundation, let us raise the next generation to be stronger than division. The sound of applause began tentatively, rattling like the delicate wings of an insect before gathering into a resounding chorus. The approval cascaded throughout the luminary center. A commitment to see beyond old grievances and work together to nurture a new life, a new beginning. As the echoes of affirmation washed over him, Jack felt the weight of the universe shift, a cosmic alignment of destinies binding them together under the tapestry of their collective hope. The darkness of fear began to recede, pushed back by the dawning light of unity. However, even as victory glimmered just on the horizon, Jack understood that this was only the beginning. Bridges needed to be built, hearts needed to be healed, and their journey had just commenced. A new dawn awaited them, a chance to mold worlds from the remnants of strife and sorrow. In that moment, in the embrace of an alien sky adorned with the presence of two suns, Jack felt a flicker of unyielding hope blossom inside him. The future was not merely a destination, it was a journey waiting to be forged, alive with possibilities. For the first time in a long while, Jack allowed himself a smile, not just for the imminent arrival of their child, but for the profound sense of connection they were beginning to weave, a sense that, perhaps, amid the swirling chaos of the universe, love could indeed conquer all. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.